Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be creating our first intent. So let's get started. First thing first, we are going to create another activity. So we're going to go to Java folder, right click in here, and we are going to create activity, and that activity will be empty activity. Now this empty activity will be named as second activity, and let us finish this. Now let's go to code and convert the Java file to Kotlin. This is done. Now we are going to go to the second activity, and in here basically we're going to have a text view which will match the parent, and it will have text second activity, and it will have the text size as 50 sp. Now we're going to go to the main activity, the XML file, and in here we're going to say button, and obviously width will be match parent and the height will be wrap content. Now we need the text will be click me. The last thing we need is ID, so we're going to say btn click me. Now we come back in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say btn click me dot set on click listener. Okay, now in here I'm going to say var or val beta intent is equal to intent, and this intent takes parameter this and also the file which you want to open, or the activity that you want to open. The activity I want to open is called second activity double colon java class or class. It's I'm going to select class.java, and in here I'm going to say start activity and the intent in here. So what is happening? The first thing I'm doing is I'm saying when I click on the button, this code should run. So the second line says I'm creating an intent whose context is this, and it will open up the second activity Java file. But if you take this, it will not work fine. So you need to have the Java in here. After that, start activity, basically I am saying start the intent whose value is this. So I want you to start this intent. Let us run this. Now if I click on this, as you can see, the second activity opens up. Now how about I create a button which will take us to the first activity. We're going to copy this. We're going to go to the second activity, and we're going to say I need to create a button. So button will have wrap content and wrap content, or maybe match parent wrap content. So we're going to say match parent width and wrap content. It will be above this, and it will have ID for now btn1. Now in here I'm going to declare orientation that is vertical, and in here I'm going to say text go to main, and in the second activity I'm going to paste my code, the same code which I got from here. Actually I think there is a mistake, so I'm going to paste this code, and instead of button click me I'm going to say btn1 dot set on click listener. Instead of second activity we're going to say main activity, so we're going to be opening main activity, and we're going to take out these. Now let us run this. Now let's click on this. It takes us to the second activity. If we click on this, it takes us back to the first activity. Now in here you see nothing, because if you go to back to second activity and click on this, this thing is actually not in the region. There is a problem in this. That's why it's not in the region, because the width is 0. We can say match parent in here, so it will appear. Now as you can see, second activity appears, and if I do this again, run this again, This is the first activity, main activity. This is the second activity. We go back to the main activity. This is the second activity. Okay guys, that was all, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to first intents tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be understanding what is an intent. An intent, basically INTENT, is basically similar to web URL, and that is like google.com, google.com in the address bar, and you go to google.com. Okay, similarly an intent is an address. It's an address which tells the Android to open up a particular page or a particular app or a particular activity, whatever you want to call it. So it opens something else, but it is more powerful than you think. But in simple words, intent is used to open something at a specific address. But if you don't have that address, then it gives you the softwares or the apps that can open those programs or those files. Okay, now I'll be creating a new project. If you don't know how to create one, you can follow me. But if you know, you don't need to follow, or you don't need to complete this video, you can just end it here. Okay guys, so let's get started. I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call it intent course 1. And I'll use the API 19, then next, and then empty activity and next, and then again finish. Now go to tools and Kotlin, and in here configure Kotlin in your project and Android with Gradle and all the modules. Now let us add the extensions plugin. We're going to say apply plugin here, Kotlin minus Android minus extensions, and let us sync again. Come back in here, double shift, and in here we're gonna say convert Kotlin Java file to Kotlin, sorry, and we have it in Kotlin. Okay guys, that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to today's tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be learning how can we send data from one activity to another using intents. So let's get started. In here we're going to say intent, the one we created in the previous video, this one, intent dot put extra, basically means I want to add extra things with this intent. What do you want to add? The first thing it asks is what? It asks a string, and this string is basically a key. So in here we're going to say my name. So this is a name of the value. Now we have this name, and if I put comma and add the value, that is Ali for this. So this identifies Ali. So when I go to the other side, if I ask it to bring me the data for my name, it will bring me Ali. Okay. Now if I come to the second activity in here, and in this part I am gonna say intent, okay, dot extras, okay, get string, and in this get string it asks for key, and in here I'm gonna give it key. What key is it? It's my name, right? So I'm gonna put my name in here, and I'm gonna run this. It won't do anything, by the way, because we didn't ask it to do what to do with this. Let's ask it to put it in the text. So let's go to activity 2, and let's give this ID. So we're going to give it ID, and ID is txt activity 2. And let's come back, and in here we're going to say txt activity 2 dot set text, not set error, set text, and that's text is equal to this value in here. So I'm going to just cut this and copy this in here, and now let us try this again. Now let us click on this. As you can see, it displays Ali in here, and if I come back in here in this place, it is displaying second activity. But when I click on the button in here, I send data, this extra data with the ID, you can say with the ID of my name, and its value is Ali. Similarly, you can add as much data as you want. So I can say intent. Now I want to send this data to the second activity. Obviously, in this activity, I have to receive this data. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll say now one thing to note that while in editing the video, I came across this problem that I didn't put double quote in here, but this put extra only accepts the string value, so make sure you have the string values. So these are string values, Ali 30 instructor. Okay guys, that was all, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be learning about something called start activity for result. Basically it means starting another activity doesn't have to be one way according to official documents of Android Studio. They say you can also start another activity and receive the result back. So basically means if you start an activity, you should have a power to get something from that activity back. And to do that, we use something called start activity for result. Let us take an example. I'll go to my mobile phone. This is my mobile phone, and this is Emo Plus that I use to call to my country. Okay, so I'll tap on contact and I get list of contacts in here. I'll choose the first one, and you will observe something that when I choose something, I get some results back from there. So again, let me go in here and let me choose Ayman, and I get his number back in here. So this is really useful and is really used in a lot of applications out there. Okay, so let us come back in here and let us see how it's going to work. So we're going to say start activity. How do you start activity? You basically start the activity by saying new intent, and basically creating an intent and saying start activity for result. For that you need to have the intent and the request code. So let us actually create one. I'm in the main section in here, in the main body of mine. I'm gonna say when I click on the button, so obviously btn and click me. So it's here, btn click me. I'm going to say dot set on click listener, and inside in here, boom, let's take a bit of distance. Okay, inside in here, I'm going to say var intent of type intent, which you can forget about this. You can use just is equal to intent, no problem. And in here, we'll use this, and obviously the second activity where we are going, second activity, and colon and the java.class, and here we can just start the activity, but we can't say start activity. We'll say start activity for result, which takes the intent and the request code. Okay, so first thing it will take is intent as normal start activity. The second thing it will take is the request code, and the request code can be anything from 0 to any number. Okay, so if you have two intents, let us suppose I have two intents, and this intent needs to be of code 1, request code 1. Why? Because the request codes are used to classify one intent from another if you have multiple intents in your activity or in your program. And this can be any number. You can have 1000 rather than 0, but it should be different than the other activities or other intents, sorry, and other intents request code. So basically this is it, this is all. Now in the second part, this is where the fun starts. Okay, so I have my second button one, that is this button in here. I have it open. What I need to do is, first thing, I'll create an intent, an empty intent. So I'm going to say var intent is equal to intent. and that is all. So I have an empty intent. Now I need to put something inside, right? So I'm going to say intent dot put extra, and the name will be txt, and the value will be this is my text, right? Text. And we're going to say set result in here, and set result takes two parameters. First parameter is result code, and result code means result okay or result cancelled. So obviously if the result is okay, means it is working correctly, then the second thing is the intent, the data that we want to send. That is all, and you can finish in here. That's all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. Number one, you call the second activity. Number two, if you have some data to send back to the first activity, you will put it in the second activity. The last thing is that you need to have something called on activity result. So on activity return result, I don't remember correctly, so control O. So I'm going to say on activity result, and this will have a couple of things to do with this. I'll have a couple of things to do with this. Number one, when there is something back, first of all, we'll check if the result request code is equal to the request code that is in here, which is 0, right? Which is 1000, sorry. So if the request code is 1000, is equal to 1000, means we are dealing with the intent that we have, and we need to check if the request code, result code, is equal to result okay. Then the first thing is the request code, which we dealt with. This we're checking if the request code is correct. Second thing, we are checking if the result is correct. Third thing, now we are going to display the data. The way to display the data basically is you say a var result or returned data, and in here you're going to say result, sorry, data dot get string by extra, sorry, not by extra, just extra, and in here you need the name of the string that you had in there. So if I come back, it's called txt. So here you need to say txt, and you need to put the value inside the text field that you have in here. So I'm going to say txt result code dot set text, not instead of text, I'm going to say returned data, and that is all. But if I select something, if the code is not right, you can just specify the else condition too in here. You can say else if request code, sorry, result code is equal to result cancelled, then you can say there was a problem. For example, you can say txt, I'm going to just get this up a bit, yes, txt result code dot set text is equal to there was a problem. Now the moment of truth, let us come back in here and do something. Before we do something, we need null, we need to tell it that the value can be null, no problem, which it shouldn't, but let us suppose it can be null. Now I'll click on the click me, and as you can see, I go to the second activity. And now in this second activity, if I click on go to main, then first thing first, it will go back to main. I didn't specify in here go back to main, but because it knows that it needs to go back to main because it is an intent which is supposed to return something, then it will go back to main by itself. So if I click on this, oops, come on this guys. So this is my text, and if I come in here, see, this is my text. So it is returning back something from the second activity towards the first activity. Okay guys, that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to be learning about the implicit intent. So let's get started. First of all, what is implicit intent? Well, implicit intent is basically another intent. The intent we know, like it will take us to some other activity or some other app. Okay, this is intent. Now this intent in here does what? For example, I want to send a message, so I'm going to say send a message. For example, let's suppose I give some command like this. I say I want to send message, and this command in here will go to the Android function, Android or OS, you can say whatever, Android system, and the Android will say there is someone who wants to send message. Is there any app? It's gonna send the request to all the apps. It's gonna say, is there any app who can accept this request? For example, there is a Messenger app, and there is, for example, a YouTube app. Okay, and let's suppose contacts app or messages app. Okay, and lastly, whatever app. You can say a game, basically, maybe. So there is a game app. Now out of these, this will receive the request, and it will say, yeah, I can accept messages because Messenger can send and receive messages. So Messenger will accept the request. Okay, then YouTube won't accept the request. The messages app will also accept the request. So, but the game will not accept the request. So those who accept the request will be listed like this. So this is the Messenger and this is the message app. So this is how implicit intent works. Let us look at a simple example. Let me go to my browser in here and I will search for the Infinix. Now in here, I'm going to view my mobile phone. And let us go to, for example, WhatsApp. It will require password. Now in this WhatsApp, let us suppose I have a message in here with the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this picture. Now the request for sharing will go to all the apps, and those apps who can share this picture will accept the request and come into the list. So these are the apps which can do something with the picture, which can share the picture. The Messenger, the WhatsApp, the email, Gmail, Evernote, Maps, and so on and so forth. These apps received the request, and now they are saying we can do something with this picture. So they accepted the invitation. And this is how it works. And after that, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. For example, if you want to send it through Messenger, you can choose Messenger. And as you can see, now you can send it to anyone you want. Easy, right? Okay, guys, that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye. Yo, what's up guys, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be taking a simple intent example on implicit intent. So let us get started. So first of all, let us look at this. This is built an implicit intent from developers.android.com. Okay, so first thing you see is that it says URI number, URI.parse, and telephone, and this number in here. URI basically is somewhat like a link. So it is saying that I have this link. I have this link in here, and I want to parse, I want to understand this link. So how do I understand this link? Or basically I want to decode this link so that we can understand where does it take, or where should it take, or what should it do. Okay, so you don't have to understand this, but basically, for example, if I have a URI, if I say first of all btn1 dot set on click listener, and in here let us suppose I have URI var URI that is equal to URI dot parse, and in here let us suppose I write http colon slash slash google.com, right? Now I want to view this. What can I do? Well, obviously I can say in here that intent, or I can just directly say start activity. In this activity I will say intent. In the previous intent we had this, for example, we would say this, the main activity, something like that. But this time we have to say intent dot action view. So let us suppose I select action view, and what do you want to view? I want to view this URI, this URI. So and action view will try to view, show this to you, show whatever you put in here to you. Now this URL is understandable by us, but computer will uh, uh, decode this and try to understand which apps can accept this, and then send the request to those apps. So let me try this. I'm gonna click on this and open the Infinix. Let us wait for a couple of seconds. Now if I click on this, it will try to go to google.com. Let me click on this, and it says you want to open google.com. Okay, these are the apps that can open google.com. So in here, when it saw HTTP, it knew that this URL needs to, or this URI needs to go with the browsers. That's all. Similarly, as you can see, first of all, let us try this. Obviously, it's not a big deal. Let's try this. After that, we'll try the telephone one, which we saw. So as you can see, we went to google.com. Now for the telephone one, nothing special. If I say telephone on 0594543237, and let us try using it with action view. So it will try to view this in any possible way. Now let us come in here and click. As you can see, it tried to show you, and when it went to URL, it knew that you need the telephone version. So in here, instead of dial, you can use telephone, by the way. So in action dial, you can say action view. So if, for example, if I say dial in here, action dial, and let us try this one, and let us click on this. It's same, nothing different. Okay, so it's all the same. Now this action dial or action view, the action view tries to solve it as much as it can. For example, if you take the example of geo, as you can see in here, we have something called geolocation. So this geo, let's copy this action view. It's again action view. So we're going to copy this and we're going to put it in here. Now this location, this is a location. Now URI will split this in a couple of parts. The first thing it sees is a geo, means then it sends a request and sees which one accepts geo, and that app will be used to show this. So in here we need to say view. Now let us run this. Now let us click on this. And as you can see, I have Google Maps and I have Uber, which can take the geo, for example, whatever geolocation. So they can take the geo URI maybe, and that's why they accepted the request for the geo and said that we are the ones who will be able to, or who work with the geolocations. So we can select any of this, for example, this one. So if I select the Google Maps, now it shows me the correct location. I don't know which from where is this location. It's Googleplex or whatever. So this is how you use the intent dial and intent view. So that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial. And in this tutorial we are going to be learning how can we use intent to send emails. So let us get started. First of all, let us go to our browser, and in here let us search for something called Kotlin Intents. And in here the first thing you find is Kotlin Intents from Android developers. So in here, don't ask, we're gonna go for email, and from email we see a couple of things. In the action section we have action send to, action send, and action send multiple. So the one we are going to be using is action send to, because we are not going to be using any attachment. And before that, let us go up in there at the start, and let us look at maps in here. Remember the last time I used geo? Well, I got it from here because in this document it tells you uh, the data URI structure or scheme using which you understand how the URI will look like. Okay, now let's go back to email, and this is the one we are going to be using. So let us get started, and I'll show you step by step how it is going to work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say var intent is equal to intent, and in this intent I will have intent dot action send to, because the send has one attachment and send multiple has two or more attachments, so the send to has no attachment. The first thing. Okay, the second thing is intent dot set type. Now the set type has this MIME. This thing here, you can either use text or plain, or this thing in here. I'm going to use this one so that you can see how it's going to work. So I'm going to use this one. Now after this we need extra, so we're going to say intent dot put extra. In here the first thing is a mail, so we're going to say intent dot extra email, and the value of the email. For now we're going to say psj for all at gmail.com, and then we need the subject. We're going to say intent dot put extra, and in here we're going to say intent dot subject, and the value will be I'm hungry. Not really, but I'm hungry. This is the subject. Intent dot put extra, and in here we're going to say intent dot extra text, and this is the text. Well, text means the body, so in here we're going to say really hungry, please send me some food. Well, it's just a joke. Oh, I don't like it, but okay, we have already written it. So now in here we're gonna write last thing, that is this thing in here. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna write it in here. Basically it's gonna check if there is any application that can handle this or not. If there isn't any, we can say else. Now let us play this and see whether it works or not, and I am sure that it won't work, but still let us try this. Now if I click on this, I see that there is no application compatible. Why is that? That is because of the data type, or the data, basically set data. We didn't set any data and we need to set data. So let us come and send data, set data, or basically I can copy it from here and I can paste it here. And now let us try this. Now if I click on this, as you can see, the Gmail application opens up, and we have our subject and we have our body. But the problem is with the to section, that is the email address. What is the problem with that? Well, the problem is simple. All you need to do is create a var, and you can call it, for example, emails, and you can say is equal to array of, and here you put the emails. For example, the first email I'm going to put is psjforall@gmail.com. Maybe there is another email that I want to include, that is test@gmail.com. So I have two emails, and this requires, actually the data type it requires is array data type. That's why we have to give it array data type. Now if you try this and click on this and come back, now if you click on this, nothing happens, right? So let us come in here and discard this. Now if I click back, as you can see, the emails are being added. Okay guys, that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial. And in this tutorial we are going to be learning how can we create a place picker such as this. If I click on this, I'll get a place picker in here using which I can pick a place, I can search a place and select that location. And once I have selected that location, I can just click on the select location and I'll get that location. For example, if I click on select location now, I get this coordinate in here, and I can say select, and as you can see I get the latitude and the longitude in here. This is really useful while creating maps, so let's get started. The first thing you need to do is go to console.developers.google.com. Once you're in here, create an empty project from here. Any project will work. You can click in here and create a new project and just click on create. And after you have created, all you need to do is go to a library. Let's go to Google Android Maps API and enable this. And then let us go to library again. And let's click on Google Places API, because the API that we are going to be using for this is from the Places API. And as you can see, the Places API has already been enabled. So all we need to do is go back in here and go to credentials and create credentials and API key, and it's going to generate as an API key. So first of all, let's copy this. Now the second thing is you need to go to project and go to Java, and over here you need to right click and go to a new, and then go to Google and click on Google Maps activity. Once you click on Google Maps activity, you will be redirected to this page in here. In this page, all you need to do is just paste the key that we have just created. As you can see in here is my key, and that is all. This is the first step that you need to follow. Now the second step is that you need to go to Google, search for Google Play Services API maybe. Once you are here, you need to click on the first link that you get, and from here you need to go down, and here you see a lot of APIs in here. The one we want is the Play Services. So Places, sorry, this is the Google Places. So we copy this and go to our Gradle. Let me close this, and let us go in here and just write it like this. You say implementation, then you just need to paste this in here. Okay, so now we are done in here. I already have it, but I have 11.0.4. I didn't use the 11.4.2. I didn't want to use it. I don't know why, but I just like the older version better. Now once I have these services or these services installed, I can click on sync and I will have those services. I know the work is really tedious, but the result is awesome. So little bit of work with awesome result, it doesn't matter. Now let's go to Google and search for Place Picker Android, and we're gonna go to the first page on developers.google.com, and this is our first snippet. So we need to create a builder, intent builder, and then start activity for result and builder.build and the place picker request. Easy, right? So we're gonna say come here back, and in here we're gonna say var builder is equal to place picker dot intent builder, and this is all. The first step is this. The second step is we're gonna say start activity for result. The first thing is the intent, and then is the request code. So what is intent? Well, the builder dot build, and this is the intent that we are going to be using, and the request code will be 0. Now once I have this, I can go and check out what happened with my project. I can come in here, click on this, and now if I click on this, I get that pop-up that I had last time I showed you the preview of the application. So this is the pop-up. It was a little bit of work, but as you can see, the result is awesome with just 2 lines of code. Now because we are returning something, we'll come back in here and we'll go to Control O, and we're gonna say on activity result. And so the first thing we are going to be doing is we're going to say if the request code is equal to 0 and the result code is equal to result OK, then we are going to come back in here and go to places API, and as you can see, we have places object says place picker dot get place. So we can come in here and say var places of type place is equal to place picker dot get place. Now we require 2 things, the context and the intent. The context is this and the intent is the data, and as you can see, we have this. Now we're going to say places dot get lat long means latitude longitude dot latitude. So we can say in here var lat is equal to latitude, and similarly we can say var long is equal to places dot lat long dot longitude. Now we're going to say txt1 dot set text, and inside in here we're going to say latitude Now if I click on this and select the location and click on select, as you can see, I get the latitude and I get the longitude. Okay guys, that was all for this tutorial, and bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to be learning about the intent filter. So let's get started. First of all, what is an intent filter? Now don't go on the name is really creepy. I mean, intent filter, what does it supposed to mean? Well, in simple words, it means what kind of intent will your application receive. For example, we have Google Maps, right? So Google Maps receives the intents which start with GEO, right? If I have geo, then I have the coordinate like 25.36 and 36.25. So if I have latitude and longitude and lat and long, so this type of scheme the Google Maps accepts. Similarly, let us suppose you are making a similar app that is called ride sharing. So let's say ride sharing is an app that you are making, and it basically can accept the geo values. So it can accept the geo values. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you add a filter, an intent filter, which will make sure that once someone asks for a geolocation, your application also comes into the list. For example, Google Maps, and then the Uber, as we have seen in the previous videos, and lastly we will see our ride sharing app, which will be able to open the geolocations. So if you want your app to do something or to accept these kind of intents, then that basically is done using intent filter. So to recap what we have just said, basically intent filter is what kind of intents do you want to accept. For example, do you want to accept the browser intents or the geo intents or the YouTube intents? Just giving you as an example. So if it's if I'm trying to play a video, it will open up YouTube. If I'm trying to display a map, it will display a map. So we have to give in here a geolocation. Similarly, in the browser, basically we have to make sure we add an intent filter which will say that accept the intents which are asking for the browser. Okay guys, that was all, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Yo, what's up guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to be creating our own intent filter. Now before we start, let me tell you that an intent filter has three parts: the action, the category, and the last one is called data. So let us actually copy this from the main, and let me go to my second activity, which is this second activity, and I'm going to paste my intent filter in here. Now let us actually take these two. So as I told you, the first thing is action. So we can have action, and action has a name, and that first one is view. Basically, then we have this. What is this action? Well, this action refers to this action in here, right? Intent.action view. So if you want to view something, you would say action view, and in the manifest it will know that, oh, it is calling for action view. Basically, this application might be the one. Okay, so it will consider your application because the action you are trying to do is same as action this action. Number two, you have to give all the information. Category. Then you have to say, wait, what kind of apps will it be able to support? For example, will it view the map apps, or will it view the browser apps, or will it view the email apps, and so on and so forth. So we will say browsable means it will accept the browser apps. Now the last thing we need is data. So if I come in here and say data, and in here we're going to say scheme. So we remember the data scheme is like, for example, geo or something like that. Remember last time we had this? Let me take this in here from here, and let me put slash in here. Similarly, if I say data and Android scheme, and in here instead of this I'm going to say HTTPS. In here instead of geo I'm going to say HTTP. Oh, by the way, you can't have colon in here. That's why it is giving you an error. The last thing you want to do is you want to add last category, that is category default. So I'm going to say category default. The category default basically is used to be considered by the start activity or start activity for results. So if you want to use this, you have to have this. It's something like default, have it, so that intent filter can know that this is an implicit intent. Now what we are going to do is we are going to go to our main activity, and as you can see in here I have URI action view. This URI goes to geo. Instead of this I'm going to go to HTTP google.com. so if the value starts with HTTP, then it's gonna use our activity, means second activity. If the value starts with HTTPS, means URI starts with HTTPS, still it will consider our activity. That is the second activity. Now let us play this and let's see how it performs. Now if you see in here I have something called nearby drivers, means this button here, search nearby drivers, and if I click on this button in here, it will ask me basically I'm asking it to go to this link in here, http://google.com. So when it sees this URI, then it considers all the applications that are accepting such invitation. So HTTP is being accepted by Google, by UC browser, by the Puffin browser, and the PHX browser. Similarly, it is being considered or being accepted by our activity, second activity. So if I click on just once for this time, as you can see, it opens up our second activity. So intent filter basically refers to what kind of intents do you want to accept, or in what kind of or in what kind of implicit intents do you want your activity to appear in the chooser. And whereas chooser refers to this thing in here is called chooser. Okay guys, that was all, and bye bye.